So very simple words. Very simple words.
The message of these 2 pages, what's the central theme? You can tell that Professor Lero and I have spent a lot of time teaching literature. And you can analyze a text like this. You may be sick to have an idée fixe, as the French say. What's the main message here? What are you supposed to do? What is Spot supposed to do? And what does Jane want Dick to do? Oh. Both have to do the same thing. There's a 2 key verbs here.
The 2 verbs are come and see, or maybe look.
Yeah. Look and see, I believe maybe the connection that Professor Lero wanted you to see between that and this list of things from Robert Goulden's book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. So these are basic ideas we have here. You have written comments about it. So if you cannot see the things I learned in kindergarten, if you go up to the top, you will find a tab that says Screenshot 2. So maybe we could read some of these as well.
Before we leave the text, I want to make one observation about it, and that is, syntactically, this is a very complicated text because these are all imperatives. There are no declarative sentences here. And syntactically, imperatives are complicated. They require a lot of brain activity. And it's interesting because that's the way mothers speak to their children. They speak in imperatives.
That means that children would already be familiar with these things, and they might have heard these things from their mothers forever.
Okay, where were we? Were we on the 15 things I learned?
I think we might be ready to look at that.
Okay.
So, among the things that you see on the screen, among these 16 things, is there one that you aren't clear what means? And for those of you who are visiting today, be aware that there is a chat function where you can write. And you might just put down the number of the things that you have trouble with. If you have looked at the discussion, you may know some of the things that have been commented on as difficult.
I want to say that it's a very robust discussion this week. I've really enjoyed reading it and reading your comments on it. And with respect to all of you, it's cold cookies, it's warm cookies and cold milk. It's got to be cold milk. There's no discussion about that. and everyone who said warm milk, and I know that Russian mothers believe in warm milk. Well, that's just wrong.
And it can't be kefir either, which most Americans have never heard of. It has to be sweet milk. But warm cookies.
Warm cookies.
That means fresh out of the oven. So they can be healthier than you might think.
Tony is saying he's a fan of warm milk.
I'm not a fan, actually. It's just really tasty with honey. You should try some.
And most everything tastes good with honey.
Yeah.
Well, usually...
Go ahead.
Well, usually mom makes me a milk with butter and with piece of butter and honey, and it tastes really good, you know.
So, is this common in the group? Do you have fond memories of your mom making milk with honey and butter?
Oh, I hate milk and cold and warm. I really hate milk, seriously. But when I was child, my mom say me what warm milk very helpful for my sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've heard that one before too. Never having had a problem with falling asleep, however, this isn't something I've experienced a lot. I get up real early in the morning and I fall asleep no matter when I think I'm going to stay up.
What else on this list sounds very much like something a Russian mother would tell you?
Well, I can say that Russian mother will never say the 15th point, you know. Well, I've never heard about something like that from any of mothers that I know.
So, is it not okay to talk about death?
Obviously.
I think it's common, especially in a kindergarten classroom or an elementary classroom, for there to be class pets. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice are common pets. And my granddaughter was privileged one year to be able to take the pet hamster home for spring break. She was so thrilled to be given the responsibility to take care of the hamster. And the hamster made it through the week at her house, but then when she went home again, or when she took her back to school, it wasn't too long before the hamster died. So I think it is a way for people to learn to think about death.
Now, what is the seed in the little styrofoam cup? Who would like to explain that to us? So the goldfish and the hamster and the mice were all pets. What is that little bit about a seed? Professor Lero, did you plant seeds in your elementary school?
I did, except I don't think we had styrofoam back then. We had Dixie cups, which were made from waxed paper.
Ah, yes.
We planted seeds.
And Professor Marston, did you plant seeds in your elementary school?
But not in styrofoam. We were both pre-styrofoam.
BSE, before the styrofoam era.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a very, very loud background noise.
Vlad, I see your mic is on. Did you have pets in your Russian high school? Elementary school?
No.
So no pets in the classroom?
No, not.
Ah, so no goldfish, no hamsters, no mice.
No, even mice.
Did you plant seeds in little cups to learn how they grow?
No.
Ah, okay. What might be an activity you would do in a Russian elementary school classroom? About life, about animals or seeds or plants?
I really don't remember. Maybe one time we went to the zoo.
Ah, yes, that's a very common, we would call that a field trip. And kids always love the zoo, right?
Yeah.
Is there a zoo in Omsk?
In Omsk, I don't know. I never heard about the zoo in Omsk. Maybe it exists.
Possibly. Who else may know in Omsk? Is there a good zoo for the kids to go to?
I never heard.
Yes, in Omsk we have very bad zoo. It's very bad animals. It's bad. But in Omsk region, Omsk region, have a very big zoo. It's very beautiful zoo. Yeah.
And is it a place that elementary students go with their parents, or would they go with their school class?
Yes. I will go. I will go with my class in school in the Zoom. It was when I studied in 5th class, maybe.
5th grade, yeah. And what kind of animals do they have in the zoo there?
Sorry?
When you go to that zoo, what kind of animals do you see?
Animals I see, it was second. It was deer, it was
So bears. So in most zoos have animals that are local, right, or native.
Yes, so local and not local. For example, camel. It was and many animals. I don't remember now.
Ah, yeah. So a camel. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's very exotic. Yes.
Zoos can be awful places, but not necessarily. I just finished reading Life of Pi, which is now a movie. I haven't seen the movie yet, but it sounded like the zoo which Kai's father had in India had a different idea about taking care of animals and keeping them safe, letting them feel safe there. The key thing. So,
Myram, can you hear us? Myram.
What?
Ah, Alina, there. Good evening.
Good evening.
Now, when you were an elementary school student, did you go to the zoo?
About the zoo in Omsk?
Yes. Did you go there when you were a school child?
Oh, I'm from Omsk and I live in this city, and it's very interesting to go to the zoo in the summer and see a lot of different animals. There are a lot of these, for example, little bear, maybe sometimes we can see different birds, parrots. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And in our country, in our region, we have a big zoo with different animals. It's wild wolf, fox, maybe wild pig, I think, called it so.
Now, Professor Lira, go ahead, Evgeny.
Yes, I mean maybe other animals. Do you know other animals from zoo?
I don't hear you. Repeat, please.
What other animals might you see there?
When I go to the zoo, I like to watch the penguins. It's my favorite part of the zoo. Are the penguins.
Unfortunately, we didn't have them, or I just don't remember them. I remember the coon in the zoo. It was quite exciting to watch after him because it was very, very active animal, and it was quite interesting. Well, there were also bears, and their mouths were smelling. That's what I remember. There were also monkeys, and monkeys were quite smart, to my surprise. One of them managed to crack the nut and eat it, and it was nice for me, for an animal. And in the Bolshevicki Zoo Park, there are also a lot of birds, quite exotic. I saw even eagles, and they are great birds. Yes.
Yes, I agree with you. You told about explorations in the zoo, and it's really big zoo in our region where we can see maybe lion and wild boar, maybe different monsters, different birds.
Professor Lira, I was interested in number 11, live a balanced life.
A balanced life. Boy, that's a good point. Live a balanced life. Learn some, drink some, draw some, and paint some, and sing and dance and play and work every day some.
The only thing we're missing is gardening.
Gardening. There's a poslovica, there's an English saying that says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
So who have we not heard from yet? Vyacheslav, are you with us?
About all work and no play make Jack a duty boy?
Yeah, so how would you interpret that? How would you explain that?
Sorry, I don't understand really.
Well, it's related to number 11 on the list.
Oh, yes, what you talk right, yes. Дело время почти сейчас.
So number 11, as Professor Lero read it, says, learn some, drink some, draw some, eat some, sing and dance and play and work every day. What's the theme there, Vyacheslav? What's the message?
It's about time.
Let me ask this another way. How many hours each day do you work? Is work the thing in your life that takes up the most time, Vyacheslav?
I don't understand.
So what? Name some activities you may do in a day. What are some activities you might do?
Activities is my day. Or,
yeah.
No, activities is my studying is my work.
Okay. So you go to class, right?
Yeah.
You study. What else would you do in a day? What might be some other activities?
It's maybe reading the car and the other.
Right. So you might drive a car. Do you have a sport that you do?
Yeah.
And what sport is that? So you have a range of activities, right? You do many
activities for fun, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, activities for fun, yes, I understand. It's playing the guitar, and I like photography. Yeah.
So that same sentence, if you wrote it, might say, go to class some and study some and play the guitar some and do photography. So you don't just do one thing, you do a range of activities. So that sounds like a balanced life to me. Who have we not heard from? Christina Kevish, are you with us? Are you with us, Christina? We can hear you. Good evening. How are you? Christina, can you hear us? I am not hearing her. Let me try Tony. Would you talk a little bit about your daily activities? What do you do?
Well, my top priority, the activity, study, takes most time of my day. So when I need to back from the university, I just want to have a rest. So around an hour, I just take a nap. I need to charge my battery. Once after that, I'm having a snack, taking my homework, and in a while, I don't have payment to blow my steam out, as I said earlier, to the stress. So, just small routine daily activities.
Very nice. So you also lead a very balanced life. But you mentioned you take a nap.
If I'm really exhausted, I would like to take a nap because I see no use of working while I'm trying to sleep. So it's better to have a nap and to reassemble my thoughts instead of torturing myself and not me.
I am of exactly the same belief. Naps are important. Why torture yourself? Exactly. Who else has time for a nap? I see that Slava, you say that you don't have time for a nap, right?
For me it's more realistic to take a bus to the dark side of the moon right now than take a nap in the afternoon.
You just don't have time.
Yeah.
Now, what would be some of your activities on a given day? So,
mostly my activities contain my education. I spend about so I wake up at 6:45. I'm going to academy from 9 a.m. to p.m. I study. Then I have a work. I'm working in an organization, consumer rights protections, and then I do my homework, some other things. So I really haven't time to take a nap in the afternoon. I can't. It's impossible.
Vlad, how do you travel from one place to the other?
Marshrutka.
We talked about marshrutkis.
Yeah.
That's a little bus?
Little bus or van, yeah.
Yeah.
When I lived in a big city that had a good public transportation, I would sometimes sleep on the bus. Could you do that?
I do that every morning because I should spend time while I'm going to the academy. I have about a half hour approximately, so I can take a nap a little bit because it's very dangerous to sleep in marshrutka.
Yes, if you miss your stop, that's a real problem. Do you have a smartphone, Vlad?
What did you say? Smartphone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it have an alarm on it?
First.
Can you set the alarm on your smartphone?
No, I'm always use the alarm on my smartphone, but I'm always wake up 10 minutes before the alarm. Always.
Oh? keep that in mind when you set it.
Alarm is just like my additional insurance if I will not wake up.
I know about this because I once took a train that began as a commuter train, and when it got to my stop, turned into an express train, and fell asleep, and I went another hour in the wrong direction.
My goodness.
And I was an impoverished student at the time. I didn't have enough money to buy a return ticket to where I was going to go.
Uh-oh.
So I had to hide from the ticket master and sneak back onto the return train.
Ooh.
And it worked, but I'll tell you, I was wide awake on that return trip.
Uh-huh.
It was during
now,
a
Professor
time when
Lero
I
has
didn't...
been...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was saying Professor Marston has been writing in the chat about cultures that take a nap.
Cultures with siestas.
Oh.
Professor Marston, what's the role of the nap in French culture?
It is an important thing for a lot of people to have a power nap, where you have a short nap and as a sort of pick-me-up. I have done power naps for a long time.
And Tony says his nap is really only 40 minutes, right, Tony?
Something like that. I can't sleep anymore since I was so young, and I woke up by myself without even an alarm.
And how long is your power nap, Professor Marston?
No longer than 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Wow.
I sleep longer than 20 minutes. I sleep too deeply, and I don't want to get up. So when I can, I sleep for 20 minutes and then get on the treadmill.
You lead a very balanced life that has some work and some exercise and some rest.
The thing is, I only do what I love.
Professor Lero, was there another one on our Robert Fulghum list that you found particularly interesting?
Let me see here. Put things back where you found them. I'm a very orderly person. I believe in that. Clean up your own mess. I think that's people commented on that, and that means your physical mess, and it also means problems that you solve. I think something that's not on the list that should be is the business about thanking people. People should be thanked for when they do a favor for you. They do something good. They should be thanked.
Yes, I think this is very important as well.
Alina, are you there with us? Alina, are you there?
I'm here. I want to talk about live and balanced life. I think it's perfectly when you can do everything you want, when you learn maybe different things in this world, maybe different languages, different culture, maybe when you can read a lot of different and interesting books. And about myself, every day I do what I like. I go to the university, I learn, I study foreign language, for example English, and I go to the gym, to the dancing hall, and it's very perfectly. I like it, and I think I will do it every day and every my life.
Ah, very nice. So that sounds like a very balanced life. Now, are you a very neat person? Are you put things back where you found them? Do you neaten up a lot? Alina?
Repeat, please. I can't understand you.
Are you an organized person? A neat person? Another way we could ask that is, are you an organized person or
yes.
a messy, a disorganized person?
I think I'm neat and organized person because I know what I want and I know what I want to do in the future day maybe, and I want my play, and I know my plan on my future life.
Ah, you have a plan. Ah, excellent.
I think it's very helpful when you know what you want of this life, when you know what you will do today.
There's also on the list number 2, play fair. Who can explain to me what number 2, play fair?
It means to follow the rules that were given by the society or by someone else, and not to break them.
Yeah, to follow the rules, to be kind when you're playing with others. And is that an important topic when you're in elementary school, Tony?
The school with me to talk about more. I don't even remember any such stuff. Because we were talking about literature, discussing history, the world around us, but nothing about morals. And not really common for Russian.
Sorry, when you are not speaking, would you please mute your microphone? Shut off your microphone unless you're going to talk.
Yes.
I'm not able to hear Tony at all.
So, Tony, can you go ahead and you were talking about playing fair?
Yes, I was talking about playing fair and about the morals and the school. So that's really, we're not really discussing moral codes, schools, but we don't discuss it directly. We discuss it through literature and through the through the Russian language itself, given the West. we didn't have such time because the parents were exams all the time. So we're not stuck. Yeah. But I think it's important to play according to rules. Although many people don't follow rules, and sometimes I understand that. Sometimes rules are stupid.
Very nice. Julia, are you with us? Good evening.
Friends, we have a great deal of noise, and I am having a special difficulty hearing those who are speaking. If you are not speaking, please mute your microphone. And Ilya, I'm speaking to you. Anton, to you. And Myram, I'm speaking to you specifically. There's a great deal of background noise and typing. Whoever's typing right now, turn on. There you go. Oh, thank you very much. That's exactly what we needed. That's exactly what we needed.
Ilya, are you with us? No, Ilya. Well, Professor Lero, I have a picture of a classroom. Are we ready to leave the list, or do we want to stay with it?
No, I think we've had a good discussion about the list, and very good comments in the blog, and I know that these sound like oversimplistic suggestions. You say, well, cookies and milk. What does that mean? Or goldfish and hamsters. What does that mean? And wash your hands and flush. These are just suggestions, and they point to larger issues of behavior and principles and that sort of thing. Anyway, it was good to have the discussion. Now I'm hoping that we get to talk about homeschooling and no schooling and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead.
Why don't we look at a classroom first? Under the tab that says kindergarten, I posted a picture of an American classroom. Who has an open microphone? Alina, there you are. You have an open microphone. What are your first impressions when you see an American classroom? Does it look the same as a Russian classroom or different?
I think that in Russia, our classroom for little children, they're modern, and when I look at this picture once, I see a lot of colorful things, and it's very maybe interesting to look, maybe to know about everything that I see in this picture.
So you think it looks more colorful than a Russian classroom?
Sometimes, yes, but not in every classroom. We can see a lot of colorful things. It's often very strong, maybe more comfortable, but
So it's very important that the students feel comfortable. That's very nice, yeah. In the Russian classroom, would they sit at tables or would they sit in rows?
No, in our classroom for children, for teenagers, there are tables which maybe planned in a row.
So more likely chairs would be in rows.
I think it's very comfortable for people, for children, maybe for teenagers, to sit in a circle and to make different maybe doings in a group because everybody make to be friendly maybe and to know how to make a contact with another people, another children maybe.
And this goes back to our lists, right? Share and work together. Very nice. What else do you notice about this picture? Who else has an open microphone? Tony, why don't you tell us, when you see this picture, what are your first impressions?
Well, first impression, as I already wrote, the kids will really like the classroom as it looks glossy and it smells colorful and that's what the kids need. There are also games. And right, a lot of space. Well, not so much space in the reduction as in the bottom space. There aren't much of furniture. But all in all, it's a nice classroom.
Is Mayram there? Mayram, are you with us?
Yes.
Ah, good morning.
Yes.
What are your first impressions of this classroom? Good evening.
Good evening. Well, as Alina said, the classroom is here is colorful, full of colors than Russians.
And what sorts of activities do you see laid out on the tables? What sorts of activities might our children do in kindergarten? For example, Mayram, do you think they do a lot of art in kindergarten? Making art projects?
Yes. They write. They draw and
yeah, and Yevgeny just put the phrase in, arts and crafts, right? Very, very common activities in kindergarten. Mayram, it's a little hard to tell, but how big do you think the furniture is? Do you think it's fully sized for adults, or does it look like children's furniture?
Sorry, but I can't hear you. It's a bad signal.
How big is the furniture in a class like this? How big are the chairs? Are they big or small?
Oh,
you're getting some help in chat.
No, I don't need no help. Sorry. The furniture here is small, I think.
Yeah, so it's child size, right, for when the children go to class. And it's always very funny to see their parents, right, when their parents come to the classroom and have to sit in the tiny chairs. Professor Marston, when you see this picture, what do you think of?
It's more a feeling that I get.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
This looks very inviting to me, and it makes me feel nostalgic. I remember times when I was small and my daughter was small and her children were small, when I went to places like this always with enjoyment. It's fun when teachers can inspire and engage students.
And Professor Lero, does this look like your kindergarten classroom?
No, and I had just stepped away to, I have a photograph, just a moment. I don't have this I don't have this ready to post, but this is a photograph of that's me right there in the middle. Right there in the middle. And this photograph is in the second grade. I was in the second grade.
School pictures.
School pictures, and you can see that there I am with my classmates in the second grade at Immaculate Conception School. And you notice that the boys were all wearing ties, neckties.
Yes.
And we were sitting at desks which were bolted to the floor. The desks were fixed. And in rows, very orderly, very precise, very structured. It was a different age in education.
Vyacheslav, you with us. Did that picture of Professor Lero's class look familiar? Did it look like a Russian class photo?
Yes, I agree with host. It very looks like many classrooms Russia today, kindergarten. Yes, of course. I with my friend, her sister, going to kindergarten, and I was kindergarten 19 years ago, and 19 years ago, and now it's very similar. It's not colorful and very sad rooms. It's very bad, I think. In America, kindergarten I see it's very colorful. It's many games and maybe intellectual games. Yes, it's a new picture. It's children make buildings. Yes.
Yeah, so they're making, they're working together and they're building a building.
Yes, maybe in Russia it's kindergarten have games too, but it's no colorful and many steps.
Actually, Professor Lero, I think I have a very similar picture. I will put it up under the tab Pete's class.
Oh, wonderful. Good for you.
Now, who can find Pete? Who can find Pete in this picture? This is my class in my 5th grade. Who can find me?
I can't.
Find Pete and we'll get $100.
I'm trying to imagine what these kids look like with no hair.
Somebody found me. Thank you, Professor Lira. Yeah, see, Kostya found me, I think. There it is, right there. Look at all that hair.
Wow.
Very nice.
Do you remember your teacher's name?
Yes, that was, I believe, oh, no, in 5th grade I don't. I do not, but I should point out one other person in this photograph. This gentleman right here in the back row is Grant Padelko. And Grant is now a Russia analyst for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty.
Wow.
So he grew up to be a journalist and a Russia specialist as well, and he is in Prague and writes stories for RFERL, which is a very famous broadcasting network. Yes, thank you, Kostya, for the caption. I love it. Now, Professor Marston, do you remember all your teachers' names?
There are some I will never forget. Mrs. Shell, my 3rd grade teacher, she was very nurturing. And Mrs. Gunther, my 4th grade teacher, who pushed me all the time to do more. And Mr. Powell, my 6th grade teacher, he was funny. He inspired me. And I would say that there are a number among those teachers. I was inspired to become a teacher, and I would say that I teach because I was inspired. I think it is important to help people see how exciting it is to explore the possibilities in our world. And if that sounds grandiose, it's because that's the way I live my life. I love exploring new things. I'm what's sometimes called a professional student.
Now, Vlad, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Now, tell us about some of your teachers. Do you remember all their names like Professor Marston does?
Not all of my teachers, but I really remember my first teacher of my elementary school, and I really loved her. She was the best teacher.
Ah, and what was her name?
Valentina.
And why was she a good teacher? What did she do that was so special?
Because I felt like she related to all of us. They tried to make a contribution in our education. They care about us, all of us, and when people do like that, you can feel it, really.
Excellent. Yes. Myram, are you there? Do you have a special teacher you remember? Do you have a special teacher you remember?
Well, I remember my first teacher on elementary school, and I remember English language teacher. I think he was the best one for me, and he taught me a lot of things I wanted to know. Well.
Ah, very nice. And they brought you inspiration, right?
Yes, yes.
This is a wonderful word that I think all of us have said, but Professor Marston just said it. They really bring you an energy. They bring you a spirit of learning.
Part of that list of Robert Fulton's about a sense of wonder.
Yes. It was on the list, wasn't it?
And some people wrote that they had difficulty knowing what that meant. And part of it is being inspired to explore.
Vyacheslav, are you there? Can you tell us about a special teacher you had?
About my first teacher, I remember your name. It was Svetlana Alexandrovna. It was very great teacher. He has done a lot of me. For example, he taught me write, calculate, and others.
Ah, very nice. And that's important at that stage, right? Learning to write, helping you begin to learn.
Yes, begin to learn. Oh, yes.
And there was that wonderful phrase, too, sense of wonder. I like that phrase, Professor Marston. Christina, are you with us? Christina.
I'm here. Hello.
Ah, good to hear your voice. Can you tell us about a special teacher in your life?
So I think the special teacher in my life it is teacher because it is a very great person. She teach me a lot of so I don't know what else I should say.
And what grade was she your teacher in? In which class?
Can you repeat the question?
In what grade did you meet this teacher?
It was ninth grade. Ninth grade.
Ah,
yes.
So you were a young adult. Ah, very nice. And she inspired you.
Yes. And of course, my first teacher is I'm sorry, I can't talk.
Ah, so your first teacher in the first grade or first class was also someone you remember, right?
Right, yes.
I wonder, do any of you have parents who are teachers?
Yeah, good question.
Any of you have?
No, I haven't.
No. No parents?
No.
No one has? No.
There are no teachers.
No teachers. Okay.
Yes.
Grandmother,
Ilya, are you with us?
Yeah.
Tell us about a special teacher you had, an important teacher you had.
My special teacher was when I studying 9th or 11th grade. Teacher algebra, mathematics teacher.
Algebra teacher, math teacher.
She taught me mathematics, and because I don't know this is subject, and I have very bad marks, and I very hardly work on that for study the subjects, and she give me very much knowledge, maybe. And I passed the exam, and I passed the exam in the university, and I think it's okay for me. But I can't tell that it's my special teacher, because it's обычный teacher.
An ordinary teacher.
Ordinary teacher.
I think every teacher was good. Will be every teacher must be good and study children.
Now
So
gotcha.
we have two people. We have Yevgeny's mother is a teacher, and Vlad's grandmother was a kindergarten teacher. So Yevgeny, what is your mother? Does she like being a teacher?
Oh yes, she's. I think she's a born teacher. Yes, she was born to be a teacher, and she's really interested in her job, in her students, and she's an English language teacher.
English language teacher.
English language, yes. So yes, she. She's also interested in making some projects with her children, but the level, the grade of the children is different. So from the very little children to the grown-ups, even to the grown-ups, to the teenagers. Something like this. So, and I think I'm her follower, so I continued being a teacher in my family. So yes, I'm a teacher also. No.
Continue the tradition, the family tradition.
Continue the tradition, yes, the family tradition. A good beginning is half the battle, yes.
Right, good.
Now, Professor Marston has brought up an interesting point. She says teachers are not very well paid. Is that true in Russia as well, Yevgeny?
I think that teachers who want to be well paid, they are well paid, and they know which side of bread is buttered, where this side of bread is buttered, and what side of bread is buttered. Yes, so you can find jobs everywhere, and if you are interested in maybe different projects, if you are interested in developing yourself, so you will earn a lot of money, if you want. Everything depends. Yes, it depends.
On how engaged you are, whether you have get up and go, right?
Yes, if you have the goal, you will find everything to reach it. Yes, if you want to reach it, you will do everything. Practically. Nothing can stop you.
Alina, we haven't heard from you. Could you tell us about a special teacher?
I finished my school not many years ago. It was 1.5 years ago, and I remember all my teachers, but I have 3 great teachers in my life who was my friend. I called it so because when I have some problems, I can go them and ask about what I can do and how you can help me, and then they give me some advice very important for me, and they help me. And now when I'm studying at the university, we often call together, and sometimes we meet in different cafes, and it's good person and it's good example and story for me I think that when I will be a good teacher, I'll try to be a good friend for my children. Maybe I will work in the school, maybe in the kindergarten. I don't know about it, but I try to make in my life to be a good person and a good friend to my children.
Well, I think you'll be a wonderful teacher, and it sounds like you have some very good mentors, right? We might call them mentors, teachers who have helped you learn about the profession and learn to be a teacher would be a mentor.
Well, of course, a good teacher and professional teacher at first he should be should maybe study and take a good program, maybe a good material in this study, and then he should be a good friend. I think so.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left. Why don't we have you ask us questions about the school system in the United States? So, Alina, do you have a question about schools in the United States you would like to ask us?
Yes, it's really interesting to know maybe how many times the children spend in a school. As I know, they go to the school near 8 o'clock in the morning, yes, or 9 o'clock.
Usually closer to 8. So my daughter goes to high school. She goes to 12th grade. And her class starts right at 8 o'clock. That seems to be pretty typical. Professor Marston, is that true in your experience as well?
That's typical. And then it depends on the age group how long the school day lasts. My granddaughter, who is in 5th grade, gets out at 2:30.
Mm-hmm. I think
so. As they go to school longer, their school day will be longer.
Yeah, my grandkids are done with their school day at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something like that.
So Alina, about 6 or 7 hours each day, and then 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and almost never on Saturday.
These are actual classes, not extracurricular activities. That's separate. Tony, you asked about a photography study group. That would no doubt be extracurricular. That might be a photography club, which may or may not be associated with the school. Other extracurricular activities would be sports and music. Extracurricular activities are very important, and during the time when I was in high school, which was a long time ago, I often did not get home from my extracurricular activities until after 5. Science club, not me, but I did photo and let's see, what else? Journalism That means we did the school newspaper. And yearbook. And I also was the photographer for the yearbook, which means I went to every sporting event to take pictures. And what about you, Pete?
Actually, I wanted to ask Professor Lero about his extracurricular activities, which he has shared in the chat. That's very, very technical.
Yes, it was the Junior Engineering Technical Society. Excuse me. And I need to point out to you that when I was in high school, it was in the late 50s, and we were in a space race with the Soviet Union. And there was great pressure to teach science and mathematics in the United States.
Well, we have time for one more question. Who would like to ask us one more question about the education system in the United States?
I would like to. I have a question. The standard called FAGO. What educational standard has the USA? It's called.
Say that again. You were asking about the educational standard in which class?
For schools at all.
And by educational standard, you mean how many classes or grades do we do?
Yes.
So in most U.S. schools, there will be 12 grades, so 12 up to 12th class. But prior to the first grade, many will go to a kindergarten, and some will even go to a pre-kindergarten. So they may go to school for 14 years, pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, and grades 1 through 12. And then when you graduate from 12th grade, you go on to college. Did that answer your question, Myron?
Can I ask you?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. No, Professor Smith. I have a question which connection with our previous topic about stereotypes.
Okay.
You know, I recently watched one movie, and this film was the final of my patience. I'm talking about American schools. You know, almost every second American film shows us daily school life of American teenagers, and I have no idea why, but looks very strange. I have a lot of questions. Why elementary school pupils and high school students ride the same bus? Why American schools so much violence? Sometimes I feel like I'm watching the film about prison, like Shawshank Redemption. There are violence, discrimination. Why high school students openly extort money from younger? For example, they demand money for entrance to the restroom. Why school administration didn't pay attention to these obvious things, this act of crime?
Yeah.
I have no idea. And why school has such strict and formal division into the groups? For example, blacks, whites, Asians, nerds, football team, cheerleaders. Why? Why so?
You're getting, you're getting this from movies.
Yes, it's. I don't know. I guess yes.
Movies. Okay. Well.
Is it true or not?
More than one. Okay. Well, more than one. Consider the source. I would say that's a topic for a very long discussion.
Yeah.
Vladislav. Maybe you would introduce that at the beginning of the next class so that we could talk about it. Okay. Because we're out of time.
Yeah, I understand.
Unfortunately, we have to end today, but yes, we'll let you start us off.
But I'm really interested to hear your opinion.
Well, I wrote some things in the chat, and I agree. If you will come back next week, Vlad, and pose that question again, we will talk about it at length.
Okay.
Good questions, I should say.
Well, thank you all for your contributions today. I think it has been a very wide-ranging and very good conversation. We learned a lot about Russian schools, and hopefully you learned a lot about education and inspiring teachers and important rules for life. So thank you to Professor Liro for finding that list for us.
Thank you. My pleasure. Y'all be well.
Well, have a good week, everybody, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Good participation, good session today.
Right. Vlad, make sure you put your questions in the blog. That's a good place for them.
I promise you.
Right.
Hey, Pete, safe travels.
Thank you. I'm going to go jump in a car. Is it raining down in your neck of the woods, Professor Liro? Oh, we lost him already. Jan, shall I email you these pictures?
Yes, please. That would be nice. I think I've captured most of them, but it's good to have that. And are you gone?
I am about to just head off, but I will email that to you before I leave.
Okay, Pete, can you hear me?
Yeah.
And thank you very much. And Jen, I just wanted to ask a few questions to our new students if they haven't left, and just get some feedback.
I think
Alina, Мейрам, Кристина. Ну, вы можете по-русски сказать, можете по-английски. Как вам, трудно ли было вам заходить? Was it difficult for you to log into the classroom, and how did you feel about it?
Изначально было непонятно, когда заходили на ваш сайт, то есть перекидывало совершенно другое окно, и было непонятно, куда вводить данный, например, mail-адрес, да, и вводить свое имя. Были последние возможности. Ну а потом при разговоре было очень легко, понятно общаться с разными преподавателями. И very interesting to tell in a different topics in English because
Аналогичная ситуация, как и у Алины, тоже было непонятно.
Как бы для нас, мы просто учимся на факультете иностранных языков, тут, ну, есть мой одногруппник, да, мы вот вместе первый раз зашли на этот сайт, и, в принципе, это легко для нас вливаться вот в этот вот новый коллектив, общаться, но, да, были какие-то нюансы, какие-то сложности при высказывании какой-то, например, мысли, да, что быстро там не сориентируешься, но я надеюсь, что мы будем встречаться, так заходить, общаться, и в итоге у нас все получится. Спасибо вам большое.
Хорошо. Ну,